So I want to talk briefly on certain storylines of Top Boy, especially the unnecessary ones. Like some of these storylines, I think they should have got rid of. They shouldn't have added in season 4, and it really did let season 4 down, because like you're adding unnecessary airtime to these storylines, where that same amount of time you give to these unnecessary storylines, you could give it to develop the more interesting plots. Let me give an example. The whole Shelly storyline regarding her and the skeletons that she's got in the closet and her whole ex and whatnot. That storyline wasn't necessarily bad. I think the idea of it, the initial idea of that storyline was quite good, but it was very anticlimactic. Very anticlimactic. Like in the end, all that happened was that Shelly, in the end, she didn't tell Deshane. I would have wanted Deshane to find out. Maybe he will in season 5. We don't know, but I would have wanted him to find out. That would have made it more interesting to see how he'd react. But also as well, like the woman that that was threatening her, that was blackmailing her, Beverly. In the end, Shelly just intimidated her and said to her, "Look, if you continue doing this, I'm gonna get you killed," or whatever. Threatened her, and that was that. So a very anticlimactic end. I wanted to see more of what would happen. I wanted to see a bigger climax, but that was pretty weak in the end. It started off quite interesting, that storyline, the way we see Beverly blackmailing Shelly. It started off interesting, but the ending was poor. That's what I will say about that. Another thing as well, so that storyline wasn't necessarily bad. It was a good idea, but poorly executed. That's what I'll say. Very anticlimactic in the end. Another storyline I want to talk about. This storyline was just terrible. It was funny though, but it wasn't necessarily too much airtime on it. I think if you're going to add a storyline like this, it needs to be a very small segment of the season. It was way too big of a segment of the season, this storyline that I'm about to mention, and that's the whole Lauren being with her partner from Liverpool, the one who could pass for Trent's uncle. Him, yeah, like that story. The guy was funny with an accent, Liverpool accent. He was funny, but overall the storyline again pretty weak and anticlimactic end as well, really. And there was way too much airtime for a storyline like that. I think it was just quite unnecessary. It didn't really add to the quality of the show. I know why they added that storyline. I'm not going to go into that, but there's definitely a deeper. I know the deeper reason why they wanted to add that storyline in there, but I'm not going to go into that in YouTube. But for those of you that are aware, like you may know what you may know what I'm implying, but I'm not going to go into that. But yeah, storyline was irrelevant. I thought didn't really need it, and they put too much time on it, too much emphasis on it. Like, yeah, way too much story time for that particular plot, I thought. So yeah, if they had scrapped that storyline, the season wouldn't have been any worse. If anything, would have been better, because they would have added more time to the plots that we actually care about, especially the ones regarding Deshane, Sally, Jamie, etc. But yeah, another story I want to mention is the whole Jack beating up the guy that was homophobic to her. Again, that storyline, that one was just a bit more unrealistic. Look, I like Jack's character. I actually fuck with Jack's character, but her managing to beat up that guy and beating the brakes of him, a little bit unrealistic, because I know she does boxing and whatnot, but Jack is a girl at the end of the day, and the fact that she was able to beat him up with that much ease, like, yeah, it was just a bit far-fetched, I would say, a bit unrealistic. And again, I know why they added that storyline in there. There's a deeper reason as to why they wanted to put that in there. I'm not going into that, especially on YouTube. I'm not going into that, but like, I know, we all know why they added that storyline. For those of you that have some degree of intelligence, like, you know why they added that. But yeah, irrelevant. I thought that storyline was. They didn't put too much airtime on it though, so I didn't really mind it too much. But if you're gonna try and show us that Jack's tough, they could have done it in a more realistic way. Because Jack beating up a guy that easily as well, and like leaving him in a bloody mess like that. I know she's tough, but I think it was a bit unrealistic, because she is a girl at the end of the day. So I thought that was a bit unrealistic, I would say. But that's what I really wanted to mention. I thought these storylines, they could have been scrapped, but even if we're not going to scrap them, put less airtime on them. Way too much airtime on these storylines. They should have been a smaller segment of the show, a smaller segment of the season, especially the one regarding Shelley and Lauren. Those two, they put way too much time on those storylines, I thought, and because of that, now that means they have to put less time on the more important storylines, which is quite a shame. So yeah, that's it for this video. Just wanted to give my thoughts on that, because I never really spoke about these storylines when I did my reviews. I mean, on season 4. Guys, if you haven't checked those out as well, check out my reviews if you haven't checked those out. My review on episodes 1 to 4 for season 4, and I also did another review for episodes 5 to 8. If you haven't checked those out, check it out. But yeah, I didn't really speak about those storylines that much because it was unnecessary, really. I spoke about the important ones. But that's it for this video. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. We're 3 subscribers away from 400. So subscribe to the channel, and yeah, in a bit.